Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Pakistan Flicks. We have something very exciting planned for you and I hope you're going to enjoy the episode. You know where to give feedback, you know where to subscribe, and you know where the bell icon is. And we'll talk about those platforms in a while, but let's dive right into our topic. I want to also introduce my lovely guest today. So I have with me Hina Roy, who's a good friend, who's a good colleague. She's an educationist. She is also a human rights activist. But why is she here today? Well, we are here today to talk about our love, our fondness of Korean dramas, Korean music, Korean culture. Yes, this is what this exciting episode is all about. BTS, they are the buzzwords of today. We love those boys. It's all about Korean makeup and going to Seoul and Jeju Island. And I hope I'm pronouncing those words correctly. So let's begin. Let's talk about. Let's start with you, Hina. We both are fans of Korean dramas. Whenever we meet each other, we ask each other, what are you watching? What did you watch on the weekend?
The typical question to ask each other right after the weekend.
Exactly. So let's ask, the first question is, why Korean dramas? Why not Turkish, or why not Iranian cinema, or European cinema? Why Korean dramas?
So I was into Turkish dramas for a while, and then I think I went through a slump as far as dramas are concerned. And then I think it was around 2019 when I was getting into BTS, and I think it's exactly when Crash Landing happened. I think it was around 2019. And I started watching that, and here I am. It's been 5 years, I think. It's been a great journey, and I think K-dramas have become such an important part of my life that, I really look forward to watching them. It's a great way to sort of relax. It's something I do for myself. It just makes me happy, so yeah.
And talking about happiness, we want to share it with all of you. And so you talked about this amazing drama called Crash Landing Into You. So I want to ask generally, if we had to convince someone to watch Korean dramas, what would you say? How are they different from the other dramas? What can they look forward to?
I think as far as us Pakistanis are concerned, I think one thing which we would find really similar in their shows is the love for food. I think food plays such an integral part in their shows, and I absolutely love how the Koreans bond over their love for food. And I love how they feed each other. Of course, it's a big part of our Pakistani culture also, but I feel like it's just on another level in Korea. So I think that's something really similar between our cultures. And also I feel as far as our society is concerned, that's also pretty similar. They also have a patriarchal society. There's the head of family, which is usually the male figure. Then, they've got the mother. They also live with the grandparents, I think, which a lot of us find similar because, that's something that we all have been through or live with them or have lived with them in the past. So, and I also feel that aesthetically, they're very, very pleasing to look at. The visuals are lovely. Everything, I think it's just right on point. And the general perception is that they just make, rom-coms or it's just fluff. I feel that's not true. They've got some really hardcore shows also. So I think they've got everything for everyone. Whatever your taste is, you're going to find something.
Perfect. Yeah. Talking about Korean dramas, and Hina added how the cultures are very similar, bonding about food, how we respect our parents and elders and grandparents. And I love the styling. I love their fashion. We're all very fond of Korean earrings, Korean makeup, and how
skincare.
Yes, oh God,
I got into the whole skincare regime after watching K-dramas because, you're watching them and suddenly you see the lead actors, just going through this extensive skincare regime and you're like, oh, okay. And then, the skin's also really great. They're glowing and of course it's makeup and everything else. But, that sort of gets you into it. So I started this extensive night care routine after that and it's been a couple of years and I think it's going well. I really enjoy that. You take some time out for yourself at the end of the day. And the products, because I got into it because of K-drama, so I use a lot of Korean skincare products and I feel they're really gentle on the skin also. I know we're not talking about makeup and beauty, but that sort of is important to discuss because it's such a big part of their dramas. So yeah.
We should have a show on makeup and Korean makeup in particular. We'll do that in another episode.
Yeah.
But this styling and clothes, so it's something really unique. And when we started watching, initially we all fell in love with Turkish dramas. One thing was the beauty, the beaches and how people dressed and how they look beautiful and, very European looking Turkish people. So we love that part of the, that was a beautiful aesthetic. Well, that's part of beauty that we like. But, with South Koreans, again, very Asians, that's another kind of beauty. And talked about styling. So all those people who've not watched Korean dramas, what would be your recommendations? And you said that there are different genres, so there's everything for everyone.
It is, but that's such a tough question.
For rom-com, okay, let's see. For romantic comedy, what would be your recommendation?
Romantic comedy. I think because I started from that show and that's when I fell in love with the whole K-drama world, I think Crash Landing on You would be my topic. I think whenever I'm trying to convert someone to come to the side of the shows, I'm always like, you have to start with Crash Landing because it's amazing, beautiful couple. They're married in real life also, if you guys are into that. So yes, a Crash Landing on You. But there's some really interesting shows. It's not a rom-com, but recently I watched a show called My Liberation Notes, and oh God, the way that show spoke to me. I mean, it was just so moving. Like you could connect to the characters, and whatever they were saying, you were like, oh God, this is my life. I think people in their late 20s, early 30s would really relate to that show. It's a little serious, and at times you feel like the story is not moving forward. But when the show, when you're done with that show, I think you'll come out of it as not a new person, but like someone who's had like a bit of self-reflection. It was amazing. Then recently I rewatched another old show, Legend of the Blue Sea. I think that's really amazing. So there are so many, and since I've been watching them like around 5 years, very difficult for me to pick, but at the top of my head, these three just come to mind.
So we're talking about Korean dramas, we're talking about Korean music, and it's all related to the soft power of Korea and how the love of Korean culture, it has become a global movement. It's not just Pakistanis, it's not just people of the subcontinent or Europeans or Chinese, Latin America. I have a lot of Indonesian, Filipino, Japanese friends who love Korean dramas and Korean music. And to talk about Korean music, there are BTS, the great ambassadors of Korean music, who have really brought Korean music and the image of Korea to the forefront. You're a passionate fan of BTS.
I am, yes.
I will not ask you who is your favorite.
Oh, I love them all. It's just so difficult to pick. Yeah, every time someone asks who's your bias, those who are into K-dramas and K-pop music would know what bias means. Basically means who your favorite member is or your favorite actor, and all of them, honestly, all of them.
And when did you discover BTS? Do you remember?
This was around 2019, and it's a really funny story. I did not discover them through their music. I discovered them through this reality show that the self-produced. It's called Run BTS. So it's a typical reality show. They're playing games and all. So I was just bored one day. I went onto YouTube. My sister suggested that start watching this. I did, and there was no looking back. I mean, I was so obsessed with them because they were so funny, and they brought a lot of happiness and joy into my life. And it's difficult to explain it to people who are not into K-pop or just who are not fans of fans of anyone for that matter. I think. It's just like it's taken over my life, I would say, in a way, because
you follow them on Instagram,
Twitter, Weverse, you name it, and I'm there wherever they are. So I really hope that one day I can go see them performing live in a concert. Fingers crossed, and yeah, I just hope that I can make it happen. It would be like a dream come true.
Well, anyone who's a BTS fan, we would love for them to come to Pakistan. We would love for us to go and actually visit their concert and meet them in person. And are there any other recommendations for Korean music? Do you listen to anything else?
Not really. So whatever Korean music that I've listened to is through BTS. If they recommend a K-pop band or some music, that's when I discovered them. But I've heard SHINee, Girls' Generation, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Epic High, these days I'm listening to a lot of stuff from 17.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, 17. They're really like it's good. I wouldn't say it's an upcoming band, but like the music is, I think, has finally started to get the recognition that they deserve. So these are a couple of bands that I've heard, but not many.
So still on that journey of exploration.
Yeah.
I would like to add New Jeans.
Oh yes,
Lee Seraphim. I love them. Monster X, 80s, Girls' Generation, also known as SNSD. Yeah, I listen to a lot of Korean music. So from Korean pop, I love Korean hip hop, Korean rap. Amog is a really good Korean music label. They produce hip hop songs. So if you're into hip hop, I would suggest that you go on YouTube and find the website and look for Amog. So yeah, again, just like Korean dramas, there is everything for everyone.
Yeah.
There is even in Korean music, and then there's something called as trot, which is their very folk music or cultural music.
Very interesting, I think.
Yes, it's becoming quite popular.
Yeah.
And people, when I talk to a Korean friend and I tell them that I listen to trot, they're like, really? And they find it really amazing how we are, we've become such global citizens that we know a lot about.
All thanks to BTS.
And Korean dramas. And you talked about food as well, Korean food. What would you like to have and what have you tasted? Have you ever been to an authentic Korean restaurant?
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find one in Islamabad. But recently I was in Thailand and I got a chance. I think it's great. Ramen, of course, I think everybody's obsessed with it. But I would just love to try some really authentic tteokbokki.
Okay.
I think that would be really nice.
Can you also explain what tteokbokki is?
Tteokbokki, so it's rice cakes and they're made in this red chili paste. Yeah, I mean, they look really interesting and I'm assuming they would taste really nice too. So that's something I really want to try maybe next time whenever.
So we're talking about Korean food and you recommended tteokbokki. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Tteokbokki.
Tteokbokki, yes, that's how we pronounce it, tteokbokki. And I would love to taste and eat Korean fried chicken. I see that in a lot of dramas. The food delivery guy or girl is coming and
well, have you noticed their delivery service is so quick? They're really fast. Like, of course, we've only seen it on television, but from whatever I've researched and read up on Korea, their delivery service is amazing. So I think another reason to go visit Korea.
I've been inspired a lot while watching Korean dramas. One thing that I picked up on was recycling. So, whenever they take the garbage out, they have these different dustbins and they're very particular on that. So you just can't throw and chunk in your garbage. You have to, make sure where it's paper, you throw all the paper material.
Cardboard goes into one, and tins go into one, glass goes into one, plastic into one, and if you don't do that, you get fined.
See, so there are a lot of things that we can replicate about Korean dramas and things to learn. We're always learning. That's also the beauty. Not just to have fun, but to learn.
And it's also very interesting to explore a whole new different culture. Because with Turkish dramas, let's say, you can still sort of relate because it's similar. But Korea, I feel it's like a whole new world, whole new culture, whole new language. So I think it's, like you said, we're always learning, and it's just something, I feel like K-dramas are a fun way to learn about. So I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with that app called Duolingo. But because I was so obsessed with K-drama, still am, I started learning Korean through that Duolingo app. So maybe it's something you guys can try. It's not difficult at all. They start from like a really beginner's level with very basic words, and then they build your vocabulary and grammar, and then sort of take it to the advanced level. But it's a fun way too, because I'm watching them I'm watching K-dramas, and I can sort of understand a few words. I've picked up a few words. So through that app, I think I sort of developed my vocabulary.
And a lot of people, because their love of Korean culture, dramas, food, they want to go to Korea. So there are a lot of students who want to go and study in South Korea. And a lot of foreigners are actually even learning their language as well. So, we're talking much beyond the soft power.
Sorry to cut you, but the government of South Korea offers like a really great scholarship. I know this because at one point I was obsessed with going there, and I was like, this is the only way that I can go through that. So you can look it up on Pakistan's Embassy website, and I think in other countries also this would be available. Just look it up. I think it's called the GSK. A GSK scholarship. and it's all paid. You can get it for your master's, bachelor's, even PhD. It's fully funded. So do take a look at that if this is something you're interested in.
And we're talking a lot about Korean culture, and I was thinking one thing is how advanced they're in technology. So, you see their little robotic vacuums, those little robots that are cleaning and whizzing around on their floors. So, yeah, I'm super impressed.
And how fast the internet is.
Oh, yeah. Is it 5G, 6G? We have no idea.
No idea.
But the good thing is it's available everywhere. So if you're at the bus stop or in a cafe, cafes has become a usual thing, but in the subway, they're available. One thing I've noticed, it's winter, so they have this thing called the hand warmers. Because it's so cold and snowing over there all the time. And so
hot packs, I think.
Yes, hot packs. Yeah. So it's just like a little pack. You shake it becomes warm. You can put it in your pocket, hold on to it. And I really like that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea,
Yeah, someone should open like a good Korean restaurant in Islamabad, or we really need those Korean skin products, those merchandise of BTS and the other pop groups. There's a whole industry and market.
That's it. You can make good money out of it.
Yeah. And people who want to watch Korean dramas, if they don't have Netflix, but they have the internet, where can they watch? What are your recommendations?
There's this website called Drama Cool, DRAMACOOL. They've got a lot of content. In fact, they've got shows which are not even on Netflix. And they don't only have Korean dramas, they've got Korean movies, Chinese dramas, Japanese dramas. I think we need to do another episode on Chinese dramas also, because that's also something we really enjoy watching. So yes, and then there's another website called Viki, VIKI. They've got a lot of free content also, but if you pay the membership fee, then of course you can have access to more content. But these are the two websites that I use for shows which are not on Netflix.
I use Kiss Asian.
Oh yeah, that's very good.
That's also a good website. And then K-Show 123, or just Google in K-Show and you'll get lots of links. Again, you get a lot of reality dramas, which is something that we also should talk about. So there's, a K-drama, but then the reality dramas, the K-reality shows are so innovative, inventive, crazy and weird as well. But do you watch Korean reality shows?
I think at the top of my head, I can only remember Singles Inferno.
Okay, that's quite a popular one on Netflix.
It's basically like a typical dating show, but of course with restrictions because of their culture and all, but still very interesting. So yes.
So talking about Korean reality shows, there's one that I watch on YouTube. It's called Return of the Superman. Now, it's nothing to do with superheroes, but it's about super dads. So what I mean is all those great K-drama actors and pop stars who've now retired and now who are at, in their 30s and 40s and have decided to get married, settle down, have kids. It's a show about them and how they are rearing their kids. Now, it's very different from being on stage and being surrounded by fans and, having people signing for your autograph or, dancing on stage. Now they're in another phase of life and they are raising kids. Some have twins, some have triplets. And I don't have kids. I'm not really a fan of kids. But I've learned a lot about parenting, and it's just so interesting to see those cute little kids interact with their parents. It's very relatable how parents also sometimes are frustrated, sometimes they're angry, they just want to sleep, but of course they have to take care of their children.
And it's something universal, it's not something specific to the Korean culture. It's something that we can also relate to as Asians, as Pakistanis.
Exactly. So that's a really interesting show, and I've learned a lot from that. Then there's another show called 2 Days, 1 Night.
I think I've heard of it,
So it's again a bunch of actors, actresses, all their friends, they come together, they go on these missions, there are a lot of games. And so I've been introduced to a lot of silly, ridiculous, but funny games through that program. And it's just joy. It's pure joy.
Yeah, like I said, this brings so much happiness to you when, after coming back home from work, after a long, hectic day, you just want to relax and, sort of just watch something which uplifts your mood.
Exactly.
And I think this Korean content is just perfectly fits that description. It does exactly that for me, I think.
So we are trying to open a whole new world of Korean culture. And I hope that, you give us some positive feedback and let us know if you actually took our recommendations of dramas. So Hina talked about Crash Landing Into You, My Liberation Notes. And
Legend of the Blue Sea?
Legend of the Blue Sea. I really love it. So a bit of context about that. There's a mermaid And she finds herself in the human world. She falls in love with a human who's also a bit of a con man. And so, of course, there is that great romance.
I think this fantasy element that K-dramas tend to bring in, I think initially I wasn't very fond of that. But once I started watching, I realized it's a lot of fun and it's not like cheap animation.
Yeah.
They're really good, and the shows, they've got a huge budget.
Yeah.
So they look good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel like you're watching something, cheap or tacky. They're really good. Great visuals. Everything's perfect. Production, quality. It's all good, and I think you should give it a try.
I would like to recommend Descendants of the Sun, which
Cult.
Which is rather old, but it will check all the boxes. There is action, there's drama, there's romance. There is, war, espionage going on as well. So crime, thriller, you name it, and you will have it. And yes, those two actors were once upon, they had a great romance.
The song couple.
Yes, they used to be called the song couple. We can read about them on the net. Another great recommendation from my side is Glory, which is based on a true story about this young girl who was bullied in school, and then she grows up, and of course she has trauma. She also wants to take vengeance, and then she finds all those people who bullied her and takes revenge. But the way she does it, that is a master class. The way that script is written, the way it's acted, it's really ruthless.
And since we're talking about serious shows now, I would also like to recommend a show called DP, D.P. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes.
So basically, every male above the age of 18 has to serve in the Korean army for, I think, around 2 years.
Yeah.
So in that part of their life, they're just cut off from the real world and they have to serve in the army. They're posted at the border and all that. But there's a lot of bullying which goes on. And I think that's very natural also, of course, because, there's authority, there's power. So obviously with that comes misuse of power and authority. So if that's a great show you should watch. And they've taken real life incidents and, they sort of incorporated them into the storyline. I think it's a great show and a great learning experience for all of us.
Actually, that show generated a lot of debate because we are used to seeing the romantic, the comedy, the supernatural, the fantasy. A lot of Korean dramas, by the way, are all around ghosts, dead people being resurrected, dead people coming to life. And yes, we didn't also talk about the historical aspect. A lot of Korean dramas are based on history, about their past kings and queens, and that is a whole interesting world.
The Joseon Dynasty.
The Joseon Dynasty.
So in the olden days, Korea or Seoul, I think, was also called Joseon. If I'm not wrong. Yes.
So you wear them. You see
the hanbok.
Them. Yes. Talk about the hanbok.
Yeah. So the traditional dress is called the hanbok, and it's a very beautiful garment. And of course, different for men and women, but it's very traditional, very ethnic, very beautiful. I think a little difficult to carry around because it's this,
it's flowy. It's
huge
like
in size, yeah.
So, Hina, where do we get latest information about Korean dramas, the updates, the celebrity gossip? Who was wearing what? Who won an award? Who didn't win an award? What is the latest film that's coming up? And again, Korean film, that's a whole genre of its own. And we haven't talked about the great Korean movies such as Parasite. Have you seen Parasite?
Of course I have. It was an amazing movie.
And sadly, one of the leading actors of that movie, he committed suicide and he lost his life. And because of the scandal, that's a whole other debate that leads you to media ethics and how Korean journalism is and how also difficult is the life of a celebrity because you've got so many eyes on you. But coming back to Korean movies, is there any particular, besides Parasite, what would you like to recommend? Is there anything that you've seen recently?
I think Train to Busan was a lot of fun. It's not a new movie, but I think it was very different. Yeah.
Do you want to also tell what was happening in that movie?
So I'm not going to give away too much, but it's about zombies. And once again, it's not a tacky movie at all. The production quality is amazing. So do watch that.
Train to Busan and Parasite. Right. And there's so many other great movies that have come out. And the funny thing is how even Korean movies, films, it's evolving. The subject matter is changing. The aesthetics are changing. And we need to do like a whole going back in history of Korean dramas.
I remember when Parasite won at the Oscars, and the Parasite director, he said something very interesting, and that had stayed with me. He was like, if you just look beyond that few inches wall of the subtitles, there's a whole new world for you to discover. And honestly, that's so true. Just try once. I know reading subtitles is not everyone's cup of tea, but just give it a shot, and you'll just explore a huge new world.
And talking about exploring new worlds, we were talking about the website. What is the website, the platform, the channel where people can go, where they want latest information?
Okay. So usually I follow a lot of pages on Twitter, but if you can't do that, then just simply search for hashtags on Twitter.
Okay.
So you can get information on that. Then there's an influencer that I follow on Instagram called Dima. She puts up a lot of content and, all the upcoming shows. She's doing a lot of podcasts. So it's very interesting if you do that. Is there any other website that you follow?
I follow Sompi, SWOMPI. So I get my, Korean pop fix from there. They have the latest on style, on music, on award ceremonies, reality show, you name it. And you'll get all the consolidated information there. And I know we're also coming to the end of the show, but since we've all through Korean dramas and movies, you've traveled across Korea and we've seen the beautiful island of Jeju, the bustling city of Seoul. If you had a chance to go to South Korea, and hopefully someone can sponsor us, or we'll, work hard, save money, and go there ourselves. That is the dream.
But if there's a way that we can go, please let us know.
Please do let us know. Where would you like to go?
Of course, Seoul.
Okay.
Yes. And then Jeju Island.
Yeah.
And I think Busan also.
Okay.
Seems like a very interesting place. And I've heard the food is great there. So yeah, it would be a nice place to explore and discover.
I think we should sit together after this and make a plan, because I would love to go and visit those places.
Oh, it'd be wonderful.
And if any other like-minded people want to go, I think we should make a plan to go together. And
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So that next time we can actually update you about all the things we did and bought and saw and ate in Seoul and South Korea.
Yeah.
And with that, we are coming to an end. And we're also coming to the end of the show. I think this 30-35 minutes have flown by so quickly. And it's kind of sad we have to say goodbye because we have so much to talk about. But hopefully that can be done for another episode.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you, Hina.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure being here and talking about something that I really enjoy. So it was lovely.
Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about Korean dramas. Thank you, Pakistan Flicks, for inviting us. And please subscribe to us. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. Please leave your feedback. If you love Korean dramas or Korean music, we would like to hear from you. Yes, in fact, I'm sure we can do another full, complete
There's so much to talk about.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to explore. But it has been an absolute pleasure. Please keep watching Pakistan Flicks, and we'll catch you another day on another episode. And we'll talk more about South Korean culture. We are going global. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.